The spring of 1888 arrived gently in the Montana Territory. Wildflowers covered the valley surrounding Daniel and Sarah Harper's farmhouse. The snow had finally melted from the mountain peaks, and life seemed perfect. Almost perfect. Sarah stood by the kitchen window one morning, watching Daniel repair a fence in the distance. A smile crossed her face. It had been nearly a year since she stepped through the blue front door and called the house home. A year since she married a man she had first known only through letters. A year filled with laughter, love, and peace. Yet neither of them knew that everything was about to change. The trouble began with a letter. Daniel found it in the mailbox one afternoon. The envelope looked official. Inside was a single document. As he read it, the color drained from his face. Sarah noticed immediately. "What is it?" Daniel stared at the paper. "I don't understand." "Understand what?" He handed her the document. Sarah read slowly. Then her heart skipped a beat. The letter claimed that the land beneath their home legally belonged to another man. A man named Victor Langston. "That can't be right," Sarah whispered. Daniel nodded. "I know." The land had belonged to Daniel's father before him. They had paid taxes. They had deeds. Records. Everything. Yet according to the letter, a newly discovered claim suggested ownership belonged elsewhere. The couple spent the entire evening reviewing documents. Nothing made sense. But one thing became clear. Victor Langston was arriving in person within 2 weeks. The waiting was unbearable. Neither Daniel nor Sarah slept well. Every creak of the house seemed louder. Every passing day felt heavier. Then the morning finally arrived. A black carriage rolled up the dirt road. A tall man stepped out. Expensive suit. Polished boots. Confident smile. Victor Langston. The exact opposite of Daniel. Victor looked around the property casually. Then he smiled. Beautiful house. Daniel folded his arms. "Thank you." Victor's eyes drifted toward the porch. "It's a shame." "What is?" Victor looked directly at him. "That it was built on my land." Sarah immediately disliked him. There was something cold behind his smile. Something calculating. The kind of man who viewed people as obstacles rather than human beings. Still, Daniel remained calm. "We have documents proving ownership." "So do I." Victor handed him several papers. Official stamps covered every page. At first glance they appeared legitimate. Daniel's stomach tightened. The following weeks became a nightmare. Lawyers were consulted. County records were examined. Witnesses were questioned. The situation grew more confusing by the day. Meanwhile, Victor continued applying pressure. He visited frequently. Always polite. Always smiling. Yet his intentions were obvious. He wanted the house. One evening Sarah sat alone on the porch. The sunset painted the mountains gold. Normally she loved this view. Tonight it brought little comfort. Daniel joined her. Neither spoke for several moments. Finally Sarah broke the silence. "What happens if we lose?" Daniel looked toward the house. The house he had built board by board. The house where every dream had begun. Then he answered honestly, "I don't know." Sarah took his hand. "Then we'll figure it out together." Daniel smiled weakly. "I brought you all the way across the country. You gave me a home. And now I might lose it." Sarah shook her head. "No." Daniel looked at her. "You still don't understand." Sarah squeezed his hand. "The house isn't my home." She pointed at him. "You are." Those words stayed with Daniel, especially during the difficult weeks that followed. Because the legal battle grew worse. Victor seemed to have influence. Money. Connections. People listened when he spoke. Meanwhile, Daniel was simply a carpenter. Then something unexpected happened. A stranger arrived in town. An elderly woman named Margaret Ellis. She had heard rumors about the dispute. When she learned the details, she asked to speak with Daniel. The meeting changed everything. Margaret revealed that she had worked at the county office nearly 20 years earlier. She remembered Daniel's father. She remembered the original land registration. Most importantly, she remembered a mistake. Years ago, A clerk had accidentally filed duplicate records under 2 different names. One of those names belonged to Victor Langston's grandfather. The error had gone unnoticed for decades. Until now. Suddenly everything made sense. Victor wasn't entirely lying. His documents existed. But they originated from a clerical mistake. A mistake that never should have happened. The problem was proving it. Margaret spent days searching through old archives. Dust-covered books. Faded records. Forgotten files. Then finally she found it. The original ledger. The very first land entry. Written decades earlier. It clearly belonged to Daniel's family. The court hearing lasted only a few hours. Victor entered confidently. He left defeated. The judge reviewed the evidence. Examined the original records. Listened to witness testimony. Then delivered his ruling. The land legally belonged to Daniel Harper. Always had. Always would. Outside the courthouse, Victor approached Daniel one last time. His expression was different now. Less arrogant. More human. For several moments he said nothing. Then he sighed. I truly believed it was mine. Daniel nodded. I know. Victor extended his hand. Congratulations. Daniel shook it. And just like that, the conflict ended. When Daniel and Sarah returned home that evening, the valley looked more beautiful than ever. The mountains. The fields. The blue front door. Everything seemed brighter. More precious. Because they had almost lost it. That night they sat beside the fireplace. The same fireplace Daniel had built before Sarah arrived. The flames danced softly. Outside, the wind moved through the trees. Inside, everything felt peaceful again. Sarah rested her head on Daniel's shoulder. You know something. What? I think this house has already survived its first great test. Daniel smiled. Maybe. Sarah looked around the room. The room where their story had truly begun. Then she whispered. And I think we are just getting started. Daniel wrapped an arm around her. For the first time in months, he felt completely at peace. Because no matter what challenges came next, they would face them together. And that little farmhouse beneath the Montana sky would continue to be what it had always been. Home.